Do not get solar. Learn from my mistakes.
That on this $107,000 home, they had $92,000 loan on some solar panels.
This has to be addressed. There are so many people getting scammed by these solar companies.
So today we're going to be taking a look at something that we touched on a little bit when we went over people's bad financial decisions, and that is installing solar panels. Honestly, a lot more people regret it than I thought. I mean, we have crazy prices right out the gate to install it. We have terrible interest rates because most people don't have a choice. They can't pay in cash. They have to finance. We have shady salesmen, entire companies scamming people. Some of these panels get installed and then immediately stop working. But in the contract, you still have to pay monthly along with the electric bill that would advertise as being free now. I mean, we have a ton of stuff to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's start off with a solar panel loan that cost almost as much as the house does.
As you all know, I am a licensed loan originator, which means you see a lot of funky financial stuff. You really do. On today's episode of You're Not Getting a Loan, let me tell you what I saw. Borrower hits me up. He would like to get a loan. He bought a house a few years ago. Now, he does live in kind of the middle of nowhere, so this home was only $107,000. Very cheap. I didn't ask the square footage or anything, but if I had to guess, it was probably like around 1,000 square feet. So essentially, he is looking to buy another home, and I had to break the news to him that actually probably will not be happening. Not probably, that's not happening. Now, let me tell you why that's not happening. So with my clients, I go through, their financial situation, how much money they make, how much debts they have, X, Y, and Z. And it got brought up that on this $107,000 home, they had $92,000 loan on some solar panels. And for those of you that are like, Jess, what solar panels cost $92,000? Absolutely zero, especially on that size of home.
So unfortunately, whatever company installed those solar panels basically made out like bandits. I don't even know how you could even be convinced on $90,000 of solar panels. My guess is that it was a ridiculous interest rate, so maybe a $40,000 or $50,000 price tag that we're going to see in this video would eventually turn into that $90,000 range. But now you're basically stuck paying almost twice the amount that the home overall is worth. You're almost guaranteed to not get that kind of money back whenever you do sell the house, and the amount of money it would take to offset that loan amount from the electricity bill and all the power it's supposed to generate, I mean, it just cannot be worth it at all. We have a comment from one of you guys as well. My buddy was not good with money. He agreed to a solar panel scam for $40,000. His wife had enough and moved out and divorced him. This is a lot more common of an issue than I thought. Like I said, I saw it once or twice in older videos of people regretting making the decision, but I mean, there is example after example like this.
We took over my dad's house when he passed away, and before he passed away, he was conned into one of the solar panel scams, in my opinion. So now we took over his house, but we have these solar panels on the house here, and I don't know how to get rid of them, because if I stop making the payment, I don't know what will happen. And if I were to stop making the payment and they were to come get them off of the roof, like, I would need a brand new roof because of all the holes they put in there. I've checked our electricity bill, and in my opinion, it's definitely a scam. We save less than $20 a month with these $80,000 solar panels that cost $330 a month extra additional to our electric bill.
I mean, back to back, $90,000 solar panels. This one's $80,000. They're saving $20 a month, hitting them with an additional $300 a month. Just doing quick math, to pay it off would take over 240 months, 20 years. Some of the comments, everything is a scam these days. Can't really disagree with that when we have these scam series on my channel of just new issues popping up almost every day. Make sure they don't have a lien on the house. That's what I'm worried about. Find the contract and have a lawyer look through it, because this looks like a very bad situation. Another comment from you guys: I made a big mistake buying solar panels. It was supposed to be 5 panels on the front part of the house for $18,000. They did the front and back and it cost me $30,000. What a scam. Overall, my electric bill is $45 to $50, but my initial thought is I don't know how you're okay with putting them both in the front and back. I would have told them that I was only paying for the 5 panels. And even with the electric bill being cheaper, you're going to have to stay in that house for quite a long time to finally break even, because selling a house with a solar panel loan on top of it is just an absolute nightmare. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but we'll head over to an example that made it on the news.
Bernard Mosley and his 75-year-old wife Tassa means staying on a budget. So when a man knocked on their door in Dumbarton Oaks pitching solar panels in December, Bernard initially said, no thank you.
I told him, says, we don't have money to purchase it. He said, oh, there's a government grant. It won't cost you anything.
Intrigued, Bernard invited the man and another salesperson inside. She started with a question.
Do you own your home? I said, yeah. She said, oh, well, government grant was going to cover everything.
Did she say why the government would want to give grants to give you free solar panels?
She said it was a test. It was a test that the government was checking the solar panels as far as the productivity, et cetera, et cetera.
In exchange, the Mosleys say the salesperson told them they would have lower electric bills and the panels wouldn't cost them a dime.
So now we're getting into the door-to-door solar salesman and that whole shady part of sales. I mean, we're going to have comments from you guys in this video talking about it as well, some MLMs, but they'll do anything to get you to sign on the dotted line, talking about government grants and it not costing you a dime. Your electricity bill is going to be free. You're going to start getting paid. But unfortunately, this situation just gets worse.
The Mosleys were never able to reach that helpful salesperson again.
She always had an excuse.
By text, the saleswoman told Tassa she was with another customer in court. Then she got COVID. Then all communication stopped. And the bills from Sunrun started.
That your Sunrun solar account has a past due balance.
The letter said the Mosleys were 30 days past due and now owe late fees laid out in their Sunrun contract.
I called and asked for a copy of the contract, and then that's when they sent it, and it was 40 pages long.
40 pages with Tassa's electronic signature. One of the pages shows the payment schedule. It shows the Mosleys could pay some $38,000 in full for their new solar panels or pay monthly over 25 years. At the end of it, the Mosleys would have paid more than $67,000. Bernard would be 107 years old.
So that's how these types of companies prey on older people. I know with the statistics, on average, we're all living older than previous generations, but 107 years old, I don't think I'm making it that long. So this couple basically got scammed into solar panels for the rest of their lives. And we look at the comment section, that's exactly what happened to me. This is exactly what's happening to my parents right now and might get their house taken away. I wish someone would look at my case. This solar panel is ridiculous. Please, I need help too. How could I get in touch? There are tons of comments like this. Now, I don't know what it's like around the world because I live in the US, but we have a comment from one of you guys. How could 5 solar panels cost $18,000? You could get a panel for about 50 to 70 USD in Europe, or a kit that you can install yourself with 2 panels for about $300 USD. Are they really that expensive in the US? Well, it seems like a majority of these cases they're getting companies to install these panels. Not many people are doing it themselves, and that's where these 5-figure prices come in. 18,000, 67, 80, or 90,000. And the whole situation gets worse when it's financed, just like a car, because overall most people don't have the cash to lay this out in the first place. They just end up getting sold the sales pitch that the panels aren't going to cost anything. You're going to start making money from the energy that you're generating. And then you start seeing clips like this.
Do not get solar. Learn from my mistakes. Solar panels may seem like a good gift, but they're like a Trojan horse. Like they're literally going to turn around and bite you in the bottom somehow. Basically, solar panels seem like a really good deal because of the way they try to spin it. But really, you're getting into massive debt, and you have to remember this. Like, forget about the monthly payments that are always going to be less than your electric bill, because that's literally how it's designed. That's kind of like the scam part of it. They can always crunch those numbers to make it less than your electric bill. But what you need to remember is you're going to be in that much debt. So if you have a mortgage on your house and your solar panels cost you anywhere between $25,000 and $70,000, that's a huge lump of debt you are going to be in getting solar, and it's very expensive. My experience with solar wasn't very good. My husband and I, at the time, we were living in this house, and my husband decided to get solar, And it took them an entire year. They hooked up the solar panels on the roof pretty quickly, but I think it was an entire year before the permit and everything went through for the solars to be connected to Duke Energy. And guess what? During that entire time, we had to pay our electric bill plus the monthly payment for the solar panel. So you need to remember that you're always going to be responsible for those solar panel payments, despite if something isn't working, if something isn't correct. Every month you have to pay those payments.
So that adds on yet another layer. If there's anything that goes wrong, maybe it's not working or the permit's not properly hooked up yet, you're still going to get those monthly payments, and there's basically nothing you could do. People really should start thinking about it like a car loan that you are now going to be adding on top of your mortgage if your house isn't paid off. But like she said, the salesmen are always going to crunch the numbers, make the payments look as small as possible. It could be 20 or 25 years until they're actually paid off, just so you think you're getting a good deal and will sign on the dotted line. Some of the comments, our realtor says it's really hard for people with solar panels to sell their homes because the new buyers would have to take over the contract. Kind of a crazy comment here. Buy the solar panels, don't make the payments. My electric bill hasn't been over $100 a month in ages, usually around $60. Well, I feel like eventually they would get repossessed, possibly a lien against your house. Like we saw in the earlier clip, if they do take off the solar panels, it wrecks the roof. And I don't have to tell you how expensive a new roof is. I don't know if I can really get behind that comment, but we have another one from you guys. There's a company coming around my neighborhood trying to sell solar panels. Their sales pitch is that the panels are free. There you go. I asked them to explain how it works. They said if I pay the $30,000 cost to get them installed, the savings from the electric bill would completely offset the financing. My reply was, if that's the case, why not simply install them for free and have the power company send the savings to you instead? You could install even more panels and rake in huge profits. It would be the easiest, most obvious business decision ever, unless the panels aren't actually free. Needless to say, that didn't seem to go over well. If they actually believed in their product and the amount of power and energy and money that they would make, I bet financing $30,000 a house will probably make them much more money overall.
Oh, how much do you owe?
Over 30,000.
Okay. What's the interest rate on them? If you're gonna say 8 or 9.
I think it's 12.
There is a small window, and I want to be very clear that it is a small window where solar panel loans work, and that's when they're like 2 to 3, maybe 4%. This is not returning the value. It can't be. The break even point on these, I get it. The break even point with the interest agreement and how long you're going to be paying them has to be a ridiculous amount of time. Has to be.
We're paying $120 a month.
Yeah, but for how many months?
32, 36.
What's your monthly payment? Are you sure?
I think
it's what's your monthly payment?
120.
That's more like a 250 month thing. So I don't know what you're talking about. You said 30 months?
Well, I didn't.
No, you have no idea what you're talking about. And you think these are, how many years is that? Dude, this is like a 20-year thing.
And that's what happens when you don't actually look at the contract. Look, it's only $120 a month. That's not that much, even though she didn't really know how long the term length was. And maybe it's around 3 years. It won't be that bad. In actuality, it's about 20. Another comment from you guys, ex-solar salesman here. I've seen the most despicable stuff in this industry. Between the companies trying to steal from the homeowners and trying to steal from each other, that industry should have Wolf of Wall Street as the poster boy. Never trust a company that found you to save you anything, especially money. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, why is this person so driven to get me to do this? I was told to tell people that I'm a manager and I'm paid salary, so I'm not here for the commission, and I'm here to help you. This is a lie. If you hear this, end the meeting then and there. They're definitely getting a commission and they're going to gaslight you into believing that they're trying to help you and not make money. A reply to this, I know a family who got sucked into the solar panel industry. I tried to tell them how bad it was. They went through a few companies and were taken by each one of them. In my opinion, as far as I know, they're not selling panels anymore. Just absolutely riddled with scams.
This has to be addressed. There are so many people getting scammed by these solar companies. You've seen the ads that say, get free solar panels or get a 30% rebate on your taxes. It's scams. It's lies. Please don't do it. It's called on-grid solar, and they are charging people $20, $30, $40, and even $50,000 for solar panels, but no batteries. Which means that if there are blackouts, if the grid goes down, they're going to be like everybody else around them with no power because they don't have any place to store the additional power. And what's really messed up is people are actually going into this thinking that at the end of it, after their monthly payments, that they're going to own the equipment. But they're being leased the equipment and they don't even know, so they will never own it. Even if they did, at those prices, it would take them 10 or 20 years to break even on the amount of money that they spent.
Yeah, that happened to me. 3 years, I paid $200 a month, and I only paid down $3,000 and didn't get any rebate that I was promised. I've been seeing a lot of those ads on YouTube. Thank you for this information. Adding on to the advertisements with this website and how you shouldn't trust them either. We bought it, we were scammed over $60,000, and now we pay almost $500 a month for the power. Wow. It just seems like there are a ton of solar panel companies that are very shady. Another example from you guys, I was at an interview with a solar company that asked if I would be willing to buy them a MacBook. I said no, and the interview ended. A year later, that same company was in the news for unethical sales practices. Go figure. Well, now we could get into the multi-level marketing portion of this video.
I just got a recruiting message from the pay-to-play solar company that I used to work for, which means it's time to shoot out some reminders. Yes, there is a solar MLM company. They aren't selling something replenishable. It's not makeup or vitamins or clothes. It's not something people have to order more of in a month or in a couple of months. It's one big sale and that's it. Homeowners aren't coming back next month for another $40,000 system. So this is a bubble that is going to pop. And when it pops, it's going to be bad. But not before all the salespeople make millions of dollars grifting from unsuspecting homeowners. The base business model is a subscription platform. Sales reps pay a monthly fee for access to the software that sells the solar for them. They don't have to complete much of a training or anything. Literally, the software does everything for them. They do not have to know anything about solar, construction, roofing, nothing. All they have to do is pay that monthly subscription fee and the company backs them. And if you're already a seller, you can recruit people under you and get a piece of their sales. So eventually, they're running out of people to recruit.
I mean, sounds like a textbook pyramid scheme to me. But instead of you selling Cutco knives or vacuums, vitamins, drinks, you're putting a 5-figure set of solar panels on people's homes. And you honestly barely know what you're doing. You just paid the subscription fee to the company. They magically back you. I bet they give you a shirt with their company logo on it. And you're good to go. Just start going door to door. Invite all your friends to do. You get their commission. And eventually, it always comes crashing down. Another comment from you guys. My ex leased solar panels without telling me. It was a nightmare when we split up and sold the house. Luckily, the lease was only a few years old, so the payments were still small. I do feel bad for the new owners though, once those payments start creeping up. So that means the new homeowners will eventually get screwed. We will see an example of that a little bit later in the video. I honestly didn't know that you could lease these solar panels. I thought you could either pay in cash or finance them, but I guess people are now renting them and they're also having problems.
I ran across this Facebook post in one of our local community pages. I've taken out all of the identifying information, but this is exactly what I've been trying to say about solar panel companies here in Texas. This is what she said. Does anyone know how to legally get out of a solar panel lease? Like anyone know of a loophole? We were lied to and taken for a ride, and this is now double our normal electric bill, and the panels are still not producing what was promised. If I'm understanding this contract correctly, it will be $70,000 to get out of the contract with them. Lawyers with solar panel experience, a plus. Now, I don't know who this person is, nor do I obviously have access to her solar panel contract, but this is what I'm saying. In Texas, this is exactly what goes on and why I think solar panels are a complete scam.
Yep, we got scammed with our solar panels. Been trying to figure out what to do. We still get a $200 bill every month from the electric company. When you pay up front and don't use their financing plans, the cost's half that. The big scam is the loan terms. And I understand that it's the same thing with almost any other type of loan, buying a car, a house. If you just paid all of it in cash, it would be a lot less because you wouldn't have to pay interest back. But even the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, most people don't have that in cash to pay for these solar panel setups. And that's when they get taken for a ride.
Getting out of a solar contract is nearly impossible from what I've seen. And the companies, they come and go very, very quickly. They'll come in, they'll sell a whole bunch, and then they leave the state. They'll sell it to another company, and it just keeps getting transferred around. I haven't had anybody be able to successfully get out of their contract. They are pretty tight in that. And so if you have a solar contract, the only thing that you can do is maybe do a HELOC on your house to take out the equity and pay off the contract. But again, you're still going to be making the payment on it. But you've got solar panels. So I don't know. It's very, very difficult. If you have specific questions, contact me, set up a call, and I'll help you out to see what you can do. But it's hard. Sorry.
So that gave me absolutely no confidence whatsoever. Pulling out the equity in your house to hopefully pay it off. Probably can't do it with the first example we saw in this video of the $100,000 house and the $90,000 solar panels. But still, it seems like it's pretty airtight and you're going to be losing a lot of money either way.
Yeah, putting solar panels on your house is cool until you realize that when you go to sell your house, you have to pay off those solar panels. And sometimes if you combine the mortgage plus what you own the solar panels, you end up losing money on the sell because you got to pay more than what the house is worth. And overall, it's a bad experience. If you don't plan on selling your house anytime soon, and I'm talking like 20, 30 years, then yeah, you can put solar panels on that. But just keep in mind, if you put solar panels on it and you think you're going to sell your house in a few years, you're going to have to pay those off if you didn't pay cash up front and you're financing them. It's going to come out of your pocket at closing.
I spent $6,000 on solar panels, including all the transformers and everything A to Z. I did it myself. These solar companies are a ripoff. So that goes along with the comment earlier with the EU prices. It really looks like all of these solar panel companies are just not worth it at all, especially if you're not in the house for basically the rest of your life.
For the love of God, stop putting solar panels on your house unless you're paying cash. I cannot physically handle it anymore. I just had a client that had to bring $34,000 to the closing table in order to pay off their solar panel loan. I feel physically ill over that. It adds no value. Zero value. Buyers don't care, appraisers don't care, mortgage companies don't care. They're not going to add value to your house because you decided to make a bad financial decision. Don't do it.
I guess that's maybe some people's thought process installing solar panels. It'll add value to the house, but it really doesn't look like that's the case. We can look at some of the comments. We pulled our offer because they wanted us to assume the $30,000 loan for the solar panels. And I thought it was the dumbest thing ever to take on someone else's debt. So now you lost the sale. And stop knocking on my door asking me if I'm interested in having them placed on my roof. But we do have an example of somebody taking on the previous owner's loans. And of course, there's even more problems that come with it.
Sharon Graham tells On Your Side that the solar panels on her home have been nothing but trouble. She bought her Sun City home nearly 2 years ago and agreed to take over the lease payments for the panels.
Well, I thought it was great until I realized the expense of it and the fact that it hasn't worked properly.
Sharon says the solar system has had problems almost from day one, and now she says the system isn't working at all. Leasing the panels is costing Sharon $150 a month, and her electric bill should only be $25 on top of that. But over the past few months, those power bills have been more than $100 higher.
I shouldn't have to call them call them just to get a repair, and they say the same thing over and over. We're working on it.
Sharon's lease is with SunPower Solar. As we told you in a recent On Your Side report, SunPower filed for bankruptcy protection this summer. However, it's still taking payments from lease customers like Sharon, even though it's no longer servicing their systems.
Solar has always been a scam. There shouldn't be any electric bill if you have solar panels. We have SunPower, and they made my mother-in-law at 82 years old sign a lease. It hasn't worked right from day one. $261 a month on top of a $450 a month electric bill. I can't get a hold of them either because they went bankrupt. You're basically screwed. I mean, I don't even really know what to say now. This is just unbelievable. And I feel like I have to put this next clip in even though it's basic common sense, but that's becoming harder and harder to find in today's world, and maybe some people actually wouldn't realize it until they already installed the panels.
Things that the solar agent will not tell you about. You will not get power when there's snow on your panels. You will not get power whenever the sun goes down at 4 o'clock. If your house is gas, you're still going to have an Ameren bill. Just saying. So if you ever want to talk about solar, please contact me first.
No one should have to explain that to you, so common sense things. Imagine having zero common sense. Like I said, you think everybody would know this, but when we took a look at people who regretted buying their electric vehicles, so many of them were surprised that charging wasn't free, or it took a long time, a lot more than gas vehicles. The range wasn't as good. If it was cold, they forgot to charge it overnight, so they basically had a dead vehicle in their driveway. I mean, just everything you would think would be basic information when purchasing. People just didn't know until they bought a $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 EV. So I know that this is another hot button issue because there are people who like their solar panels, but there's a lot of people getting raked over the coals with these interest rate and loans and basically making those panels never worth it in the end. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and I'll talk to you guys later.